Good morning. It's Monday, April 12th. I'm Jason Stanton. This is my morning musing for this morning. I've been thinking about yesterday. I preached a sermon that was centered around the inspiration for it was, first of all, the Gospel of John and the story of Thomas coming to faith, saying, Lord, yeah, it is you, coming to belief. It's sometimes called doubting Thomas. I think it should probably be called believing Thomas, but whatever. I'm trying to be nice to him. I think I could have been in the same boat, so try to give him some grace there. But to connect to that story and how that story connected to our current pandemic world and what we've known for the last year plus, the movie Groundhog Day came to mind. And as I didn't watch the whole movie. I watched a few scenes just to be reminded exactly of how Phil Connors, the weatherman, Bill Murray, plays that character, how he experiences Groundhog Day over and over again, mostly negatively, right, for a long part of the movie, but then at the end of the movie, lots of lessons were learned, as good movies usually have. It made me think about how going back to an old familiar movie like that, it's not that I don't watch new movies. Those old familiar books, those old familiar movies, those old familiar songs, I don't want to lose those as I accumulate new songs and new movies and new lessons, new books. And it made me think of an old Brownies song. This may sound strange, but I am a little brother. And my older sister, it's not like she was in Girl Scouts forever, but she was a Brownie at least when I was a little one. And my mom served as a Brownie leader. I think that's the word. And one of the songs they would sing, because I was a tag along, so you could say I was a Brownie. I was never a Boy Scout, but I was a Brownie for a little bit. And one of the songs they'd sing is "Make new friends and keep the old. One is silver and the other gold." It's the only verse I remember. And I don't know which one is silver and which one is gold necessarily. And I think the same could be said for new lessons, new books, new movies, new songs. I love finding and falling in love with that new song, with that rhythm or harmony or words that you've never heard before, and it's fresh, right? There's something exciting about a new song. Have you ever had a song just like get stuck in your head and you're just excited about it? Maybe at some point you actually want to get rid of it. A lesson can feel that way, or something you heard on a podcast, or something you heard a friend say, something you've learned. But at the same time, there's always a place still for the good old lesson, the familiarity. There are times it's fun for me to hear the music that my kids are listening to. Is it something new? But then it's also fun to go back to what I'm familiar with from the 80s and 90s. That's what Groundhog Day was like for me, as I was thinking about what illustration to offer, what story to go back to think about. And if you didn't catch the sermon, I commend it to you. You can find it through our website, our worship service from yesterday. But just a reminder of not necessarily what the lesson was, although Groundhog Day is basically teaching that today is the tomorrow we've been waiting for. That's what the Easter message is. That's the good news. That as much as the disciples have been waiting and waiting and waiting for tomorrow, as much as pandemic humans are waiting and waiting and waiting for tomorrow, the good news that we hear in the gospel text is the tomorrow we've been waiting for is in fact today. Jesus is risen, and so everything is changed, everything is new. And that's the epiphany that Phil has in Groundhog Day, that, oh, this is a new day. Even before the new day for him came, he lived away from the selfishness that he'd been wallowing in, and which was making him miserable. And once he lived into the day for what it was, even though it was the same day over and over again, once he started living into the day for what it was, that's when tomorrow came. It's a really good Easter movie, actually, reminding us that today is the tomorrow we've been waiting for. And but as much as that was the lesson that the illustration I wanted to get at to help me with proclaiming the Gospel of John, it also reminded me that those things we remember from 30 years ago, because that was a 1993 movie. Yeah, that's 28 years ago. They don't have to all be moved on from in favor of something new. C.S. Lewis called people's disdain for things that are old, their preference for things that are new, historical snobbery. To think, well, what we're doing now is far superior to what they did then, and especially in a world that's so driven by technology and advancement and innovation and what have you done for me lately? That's not fair to the wisdom and experience of what happened in the past. So I think we could even be more fair to ourselves, and what we learned 30 years ago could really be helpful to us now. So I encourage you to remember those things that were and always have been helpful, and not push those away as though they can't hold a candle to things we're learning now. Keep faith alive.